Wake up, goddammit. Hey, welcome everybody to the Taj Longino Show special edition. A special edition because I usually don't even air my show on what's the night? Wednesday night. But tonight is a reason why I'm live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, on all platforms tonight, because this discussion with my guest tonight, we was having this discussion on Instagram, and we both had the thought process of putting this on the platform and doing this live because I think this is a conversation that needs to be had. And he thought the same thing. And so we was on the same page. So we said, why not do it? And here we are live right now, getting ready to have this discussion. But before we had this discussion, I got to introduce you to my guest. He's editor-in-chief for the Hype magazine. Anybody knows me know Hype magazine is family. You know what I mean? And he's been a part of family for many moons. If you look at the editorials, you're looking at all the writing and everything that's going on in the Hype magazine, the interviews, that's Jerry. And Jerry is a man who's been in the industry for a very long time. He knows what he's talking about. So if you're unfamiliar with him, before you question who he is and why he's speaking and his credentials and everything like that, he's going to give you a little bit of his background. So you know he's validated. He's credible. All right. So that's why we're having this particular conversation with him. So I want everybody to welcome Jerry Dobie to the Taj Longino Show. What's going on, Jerry?
Hey, what's good? How you doing?
Man, I'm good. Man, I'm good. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Because you was hyped.
I'm amazing. Shit, I'm hyped. I'm ready to rock.
So before we get into this discussion, I want the people just to get a little bit of background of Jerry Dobie, so we can get him a little bit.
Okay, well, I'm Jerry. I'm a journalist, the editor-in-chief of the Hype magazine. I am a member of the U.S. Department of Arts and Culture. I'm a member of the United States Press Association. I have a PhD in communication. I am the public information officer for the Royal House of Nana Amoko Yaramgiata in Ghana. I'm responsible for his communications from the continent to here in the African diaspora. I'm also the publicist for Olympic silver medalist Raven Saunders from the Tokyo Games. She's a silver medalist in the shot put. She is one of the only 3 American women to ever medal in the shot put in the Olympics. And all 3 of those American women happen to be Black. So she's part of history. That's me. I've been the editor-in-chief of the Hype magazine for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I am a father of 6, a grandfather of 15. I was raised by 9 sisters and a mother. So communication and survival skills were one of the ways that I survived and made it to the Army. Yeah, I'm just a guy. I love fishing and a great pork chop. Sorry for you vegan friends out there. But that's me in a nutshell.
All right, so let's now we got you got some understanding of who Jerry is. Now let's get to it. Everybody has pretty much I don't know, I don't know if everybody's familiar with Charleston White at this point, right? But Charleston White, from what most people take from him is their perspective on him, their opinion of him is he's disrespectful. He says outlandish things. He's out of pocket most of the time. And he goes too far in a lot of cases. And I used to feel the same way about Charleston White. I even had an opportunity to interview Charleston White early on before he blew up, because there was certain things that Charleston White said that I did agree with and that I was aligned with. And when I started digging off into his background, who he is, and doing my extensive research, not the social media news reporter research. I'm talking about real research to find out who is this guy, where did he come from, how did he get? I mean, he just came in out of nowhere for the most part, right? For most people, for me, first time I saw Charleston White, it was on Say Cheese TV, and he was speaking against Gilly the Kid, Uzi Vert, and some other rappers who were blackballing a young MC out of their area based on something he did at 14 years old. You know, somebody broke into their house. If you don't know the story, somebody broke into the house, saw his brother get killed. His brother. He wasn't in the, this wasn't no street situation. From his perspective, he saw his brother get killed. His mother took him down to the station, told the police what she saw, and looked at him and told him, now tell them what you saw. They looked at that as snitching. He's 14. So when Charleston White spoke out against that, I was with that because I didn't agree with that either. Now, as I got to following Charleston White, he was saying, I was like, it got saying things like fuck DMX and fuck Nipsey and fuck this and fuck that. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this? I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this dude? I said, man, but I started thinking, I'm like, something, this it's got to be something more to this. And that's when I started doing my digging on him. That's when I started figuring out, oh, okay. You was a good guy back then when you first got to social media. You had the bow tie on, you had your hair cut, you know what I mean? You was sitting up in button-up shirts, talking real proper, no cussing at all. I've seen plenty of videos of Charleston White early on when it wasn't not one cuss word in the whole video. Very intelligent dude. For those who think he's an idiot and he's stupid, that brother's very intelligent. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's just not winging this. He knows exactly what he's doing. So when I started seeing that side of Charleston White, and I said, okay, how do we go from that Charleston White to this dude? Then I started doing some more digging. And I said, oh, he's not even ashamed to tell you. This is all a gimmick. He's literally in interviews on multiple videos telling you, I'm on the internet bullshitting. When I was a good guy, and he stated this, when I was doing it the other way, the positive way, the non-cussing way, the non-aggressive way, I wasn't getting nowhere. Wasn't nobody paying attention to me. He said, how am I going to be able to spit the same message and get the attention? How am I going to be able to do it? Okay, well, he sat down and realized everybody loves the villain. So he said, I'm going to go online and play the villain. I'm going to spit the same message in a different way. I'm going to get everybody's attention, and then I'm going to be able to execute my message once I have everybody's eyes and ears. And that's exactly what he's done. So how we got, fast forward, how me and Jerry got here tonight is because of the recent events between him and China Mac. I don't even know who China Mac, I know kind of, but I'm not really all the way sure who China Mac is. I don't even know how that beef started. Most beefs with Charleston White, you don't know how sometimes Charleston White pulls shit out the air. Sometimes it started because somebody spoke on him in an interview and he saw it and responded. And I'm pretty sure that's how this started. But what led up to me and Jerry having this conversation tonight is he said something about raping women and kids. And I made a post that was unrelated to the China Mac situation because I didn't even know nothing about the China Mac video. I was speaking on something totally unrelated. I was speaking on the business aspect of what's been going on. And Jerry stepped in and we just had a conversation and we was like, you know what? Let's put this on the platform because this conversation needs to be had because this is not, to me, this is not even about necessarily Charleston White. This is about all people of influence who have a voice, who have a platform, no matter if it's TV, radio, movies, music, whatever you're using to get out your message. This is about anybody of influence, myself, Jerry, anybody who has a voice, who can sway the public with their message and their voice. And when is enough and when is too far, too far. So me and Jerry was kind of going back and forth because I have a whole different perspective from it. So I've been talking for too long. I just wanted to give y'all some clarity of how we got here. And now I'm going to let Brother Jerry give his point of view on his side of things, on how he feels about the whole situation.
You know, first and foremost, let me clear this up. I'm not a Charleston White hater. Uh, I watched the video as well when he explained how, wearing those tan pants, that blue shirt, and that bow tie didn't get him heard. And he analyzed, well, how, how does your mama talk to you? Well, get your ass over here. What the fuck is you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And he got responses. So he tapped into a cultural kind of thing, communication wise, although as he describes it as a caricature, he, does the big stage thing and makes things much more dramatic. So I'm a fan of the work that he's done to help ensure the legislation was passed on behalf of, children and black children and things. He's done amazing things. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
just talking about city council crap. This dude has real legislation that he's helped to influence and is made life better. I also like the way when I watch videos of him interacting with the youth, they really look up to him. They admire what he's saying, the message that he presents in some of these interviews and videos or whatever is not how he presents to them. It's very respectable. It's somebody that they look up to, and I'm rocking with that. The fact that he's looking out for black people in his way, I'm rocking with that too. However, every swinging dick on the face of the earth is responsible for their words. And words can benefit you, they can hurt you, they can create great harm within the community, or they can heal. It's very important that we select our words carefully when we deliver our message. Because rather than create enemies, you really want to create allies. You want people to respect your position. And there's no way anybody of reason would take their vitriol to the point where they would be attacking women and children. Now, I'm an asshole, and I feel like grown folks could take care of themselves. Women, get you a knife, get you a gun, handle that. You know what I mean? But when you started advocating for the violence against babies and children, you're talking about raping and killing babies and children. No, then we as a collective have to stand up and say, fuck your free speech. That is too far. And, bottom line, words, Hitler, who ruled Germany and did his nasty thing in Germany, and it's not from Germany, fucker's from Austria, right? So he comes from Austria, which is a Euro train ride. If you've ever been stationed over there, you get on the Euro train and you just go across the board, right? It's a real quick, fast train, whatever. Anyway, he's from Austria. Great leather goods in Austria. Salute Austria. And he takes over Germany with words. And he starts as a street level thug, basically. And it grows and grows and grows because he found like-minded people, but also weak-minded people who could be influenced by words. And I'm from a profession formerly, where it was full of adrenaline, and you get hooked on that. And I was one of those guys that'd be like, oh, let's go out in the dark, and on some go get 'em shit. And I lived that life, but it was sparked by my instructors in school, in my tech school, in my specialty schools. It was sparked by the rhetoric that comes from the government that programmed me to be a better wolf. I was already a wolf. They took advantage of me and sent me out, and I, did my job, did my thing. Fucked up thing was I enjoyed that shit, right? But they took advantage of that and helped program me. So words did that, and it's indoctrination from 10 weeks of basic training through another 2 years of advanced training, et cetera, et cetera. Then they send you out there and they say, oh, it's all training. No, you fucked up this cat's mind, and you did it with words, and then programmed them with actions.
Mm-hmm.
So now when you're talking to someone who's already looking for guidance, because we are in an age of babies raising babies, and with each successive generation and the removal of power from parents in the homes by the government, you can't whoop them, you can't yell on them, you can't, all that nonsense. They want to come put you in jail. With each successive generation, fewer and fewer of the morals and things that kept us as a community in check and together and moving forward as a unit, those start to fall by the wayside and everybody's going for themselves. So, words, not only do we have Hitler, he marched across Poland. Let's talk about the pogroms. He took over Paris. He took over England. Words. He moved an entire nation, an entire continent, European continent. You know what I mean? Based on words.
Okay, and everything you're saying is factual. Words have power. Look at music, right?
Mm.
However, I gave you this example when we was talking offline last night. What is worse, right? I think I gave you a scenario. What's worse, right? What's worse? Somebody who's just talking shit, online bullshitting, just to get a rise out of somebody, or an actual person who's documented, who has a current platform, who's in the business,
Mm-hmm.
and has raped a black woman, period, but raped a black woman. It's documented. They got the paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
Am I more bothered by the guy who's just sitting a silly motherfucker talking crazy, or am I more bothered by the person who's actually out here putting his hands on women and sexually assaulting them and raping them and still walking the streets? I think I'm going to be more bothered by the guy who's actually out here committing the action. This dude over here who's just known for running his mouth, you know how I can easily tune him out if I need to? I just turn him off. I block his pages. I report his YouTube channels or videos. It's things I can do to turn that noise off, right? But I can't ignore the fact that this guy over here, who has a hot podcast right now, one of the hottest podcasts, hip-hop podcasts, has raped, he's violated, took something, just like you got a daughter, I got a daughter. You got one time. One time, and I'll go do 20 with a smile on my face. And I'm pretty sure you'll do the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more worried about that guy because somebody run off at the mouth, I'm less worried about versus the people that's in our communities. There's rapists in our communities all across the United States of America that everybody know, and people in that hood, in that community know there's a rapist in there, knowing he violating them kids, knowing he beating on his old lady, knowing he out here raping women and beating on women. And guess what? Ain't nobody saying nothing. Ain't nobody saying nothing.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? To me, that's more of the concern. It ain't Charleston White in his mouth. Because guess what? Just like Live Nation shut him off, if they really want to shut him off like they trying to do, like they do anybody who they feel like speaks out, who's gone too far and said too much, they can shut his light out too. And you'll never hear from him again.
Okay.
But we actually got people that's actively raping women, preying on women, and taking advantage of them and taking something from them. That should be where our concern is. And it should be, and since we're both in the entertainment industry, we both know stories that have been documented and undocumented of artists and celebrities who've beat on women, taking stuff from women. And guess what? They still get protected. because they got the money and the fame. To me, that's the bigger problem. It ain't Charleston White's mouth.
You know, I cannot unload the world's ills on the shoulders of Charleston White. You know what I mean? What I do is hold the spitter of the verse responsible for the punchline.
Hey, say it again.
I hold the spitter of the verse responsible for the punchline.
I like that. Okay.
That means, similar to the January 6th crowd, they get whipped up, you know, and go do this, and we're going to go down there, we're going to fight and go fight like hell. Okay. He never said go kill anybody, go knock down the door, none of that, right? However, you have weak-minded individuals who will say, ooh, he just gave me permission to be the asshole that I want to be.
I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish.
He hasn't explicitly said go get him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you got this weak-minded person that has taken that suggestion as if those are marching orders. All right. Let's get somebody more explicit. Somebody says, I believe all Chinese babies should be raped and killed. I believe Chinese women should be brutally raped. It's a video. Can't hide it. It's there, right? Not, a few years ago, you showed me a video where the same person is saying, I believe that the Chinese people haven't done anything bad to us. Mm-hmm. They've been through it. Okay, well, he didn't go into specifics, but here in the 1700s in the United States was the first of what is called a yellow peril. So for Chinese people, what that meant was they were residents, but not citizens. A white man could chop the Chinese man's head off in broad daylight in public, surrounded by Chinese witnesses, and not one of them motherfuckers could testify in court against that white man. This happened here in the United States. They couldn't testify in court. It took another white person to testify against that white person on behalf of the Chinese person who just got murdered. So they've been through some shit. We've been through some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And still going through it.
Right.
So when you have a lot of people who are tired, when you get tired physically, mentally, just like on the battlefield, right? This is a battlefield. If you wear this uniform, you're in a fucking battle every fucking day. And knowing that, irresponsible minds will use vitriol and rhetoric, dangerous shit, vile, foul, unforgivable shit, to take those bored, weak, tired minds, and just like it, you don't know what it's going to take to push somebody over the edge to eat a bullet. You don't know what it's going to take to push somebody over the edge to take action and go fuck somebody up. Look at the video of the big ass black dude that went and punched that 86-year-old Chinese woman in the back of her head and beat her for like 2 minutes. This is recent, my brother. This kind of shit, you got weak-minded motherfuckers that act on the words that we put out there. Therefore, we have a responsibility. The Hype magazine doesn't cover beef or gossip.
Right.
For the reason it's not our business to get involved in that shit. There are other, platforms. Our job is to give a platform for people to tell their story, not for us to twist it and screw it up. You know what I mean? We've been here 21 years. I've been with the Hype for 10. Words have power. I wrote Years ago, I wrote a piece on the prison industrial complex and the entertainment industry's place in it. And I named names, labels, et cetera, and some of the percentages that they owned in the privately owned prisons. Talking about majority stockholders, Sony, da 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 da. Anyway, my words as a media outlet, we try to have relationships with the labels, the movie houses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, as vicious as I can be with the pen, I had to revise to survive.
Now let's stop you there,
Yeah.
because you just said now I'm gonna say the word contradiction, but you know, in a sense, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. We people in the industry know who's doing what behind these closed doors,
right?
And regardless, when they get on that stage and they say, what's the first thing they say? Without God, it wouldn't have happened. God didn't tell you to beat her down to a pulp. God didn't tell you to keep raping women. God ain't tell you to keep stirring up the pot till somebody got killed so you can cash in on the benefits of it. God didn't tell you to
go read the Old Testament.
You know, but
God
what I'm
was
saying is,
dick after pussy a long time.
You know, like but I'm saying is the issue. Charleston White, put it like this: Charleston White is not powerful enough or big enough to cause a revolution.
Neither was Hitler.
Because just as fast, if Charleston White goes away tomorrow, just like Kevin Samuels, right? And for a brief moment, everybody was they couldn't think straight because of Kevin Samuels. As soon as Kevin Samuel passed away, people laughed. People was disrespectful at this man dying, and a week later, he was forgotten about. They still post his videos here and there, but overall, people have moved on. And if Charleston White, if the industry or the powers that be cut him off the internet, right? In a week, everybody's going to move on to somebody else or something else. He's not big enough to cause that much of an issue, because one thing I know, people's attention span is not that long and they're easily distracted. So as soon as another distraction comes by, they just forgot all about what this dude then did. Now they own something else. It's not that same time period where it's going to have the same long-term effect. This will last a little bit. This will last a little bit, and it'll go on to something else. Because I tell you that Charleston White done been in Houston. He done been in Cali multiple times, New York, Atlanta. He was just I think he was in one of the Carolinas talking to kids. I think he was in the VA talking to kids. He's been moving around. And I don't care. He spends a lot of money on security. And he hires police officers. A guy in California, I'm going to get back to my original point. But a guy in California paid him $30,000 to come out to California to do an interview. Charleston White, out of that $30,000, spent 10 of it on armed police security. He can't keep doing that and surviving. So what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter. When somebody wants your ass, you hit. And ain't no security going to stop you. Ain't nothing's going to stop what's going to happen is going to happen. You understand what I'm saying? So Charleston White's been moving around all these areas. Nothing has happened to him. Not because he's big and bad. Not because he's the baddest dude walking the streets. Not because he even got police as security. It's because nobody's really that concerned about Charleston White. Because I believe people have caught the worm on the hook. And I think there's only a small percentage of people still falling for the banana in the tailpipe. And once people understand his method to his madness, it's no longer entertaining, and they're going to move on to something else. And when they do see a video of his antics, of a new antic video, or so he's going off on somebody else, they're going to know what it is. They're going to look at it, and they're going to move on. And I think that's where we're at right now.
I hope that you're right. but history hasn't proven you to be right. So, because you know,
But because Jerry, I don't mean not to cut you off too, but
it's
here's
your
another
show.
thing: we have a lot of issues within the entertainment industry. A lot of them, and when you try to educate people on the deep secrets of the entertainment industry, they're oh man, you don't know what you're talking about. You tripping? That they'll never do that. That doesn't happen. Yeah, until you go to one of them parties, or until you get into one of the meetings behind one of them doors, and then you'll understand. Like, uh, I just think everything is not is deeper than Charleston White. We got issues within the entertainment community that's done a lot of damage that's been going on for the last 40, 50 years. And it's still going on to this day. Right? So until we clean that up, Charleston White he ain't even on the radar of high level issues that we have that can really cause a problem.
If you have someone who
Talk to me.
if you have somebody who has the power to divide a community, that's the most dangerous person in the world. So
Do you think he's divided the community?
we have people arguing and ready to go at each other.
They not about to do nothing.
And look, you know what? People keep saying that. But how many of these little Twitter idiots
Because
went and did some violence over some social media stuff? So the problem is that when you get excited, lively, controversial, and provocative language spitting out there, you got people are ready to receive it, like, yeah, give it to me, right? They're crazy. Okay. And you keep feeding them that garbage. You light the damn fuse for somebody who's not as considered, who's not saying, oh, there's a deeper message behind what this person is presenting. There's a methodology that they're using in order to draw attention to this issue. Okay, fine. Shock jock all you want to. I don't care. But what you can't do is forget the fact that babies and children are helpless. And you can't advocate and have a sense of decency as a human being, advocate for the rape and killing of babies, regardless of what community. That's not acceptable talk. I ain't saying you got to be polite. I ain't saying he can't tell a motherfucker kiss my ass and fuck you, you can't do shit to me. I'm not saying that. Mm-hmm. I'm saying that as men who have children, daughters, babies, we went through, and the new age guy now is cutting the umbilical cord and holding the baby and cleaning the baby and all that shit. That fucking connection that you have with a child, you will go to war for that child and die for that child.
Yeah, and again, I do not. When I saw the video, and I finally saw what he said, because again, I didn't even know. I thought that China Mac shit was dead. I didn't even know it was even still an issue. I thought the Mav Hoffa stuff was dead. I'm like, this stuff was weeks old. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't even, until I saw it and I saw what he said, I was like, damn.
It's too far, bro.
Yeah, I was like, this. Yeah, he went to. I was like, damn. I just was speechless at that point. I'm like, damn, he's really going off the. And I think he's falling to the same condition that a lot of them fall into, the attention, man. That attention is a motherfucker. And I think that the attention that he's receiving and the popularity is growing. He's making $10,000. He's doing a comedy show, but he's not a comedian. There's other comedians out there that are killing themselves trying to get to that point, and he's just blowing past them because he has social media fame. So that's another issue. Like, just like I'm saying, so it's not even. So, but let me get back to my point. So yes, what he's saying, I don't agree with it. I don't stand on that. I don't stand by it. I will never stand by it. You can't, to me, you can't talk like that. But I know when I see him on that type of shit, I already know what I'm looking at. I already know what it is. And guess what I do now? I used to be like, oh my God, Charleston White's on me. So what's this crazy ass nigga saying today? Now I just look at him like, I'll look at the title, some more of this silly shit. I'm gone. You know what I mean? That's what you can do. You don't have to sit there and internalize it and because anybody who got a half a brain knows what is going on here. It's the view count, it's the YouTube check, it's because the more people, he doesn't care he does not care if it's positive or negative feedback. As long as they talking about me, like we doing tonight, that's all he cares about. Charleston White he gonna go to sleep tonight, and he gonna wake up tomorrow morning not giving a damn one way or the other because
until
he
somebody
knows
kills somebody, a child,
or
and
no,
they
or
blame it
better
on
yet,
him.
or somebody kills or hurts him. And
Yeah.
he's already stated
Yeah.
in one of his interviews, he said, I'm not scared to die, and don't y'all cry for me if it happens to me. He said, I'm going up against gangsters and killers. I know what I signed up for.
Mm.
But now the message that he has built is getting blurred because of these type of comments.
Yeah.
So, and I think when he's going to those extreme levels, he's reaching. He's reaching for more. He's reaching for more audience. You know, for more views. He's reaching for bigger audience. He's reaching. He's reaching, man, because he doesn't even believe that though, Jerry. That man has kids of his own. He's an advocate for kids. So a man who's advocating for kids, who stands up for kids, who fights for a death penalty cases in Texas and has kids of his own, does not even believe that shit that he's saying out of his mouth. It's bullshit.
Then why say it? Because there's somebody who is willing to act on it. Therefore, knowing that you have a platform, yeah, maybe he doesn't have millions and millions of active followers and things, but it only takes one for you to send on a mission because they want to please you. You got motherfuckers out there worshiping and hanging on every word this motherfucker says.
I mean, that's
that
true.
is power. With power comes responsibility, especially if you're standing up as a champion for your fucking community. And if you're going to do that, imagine if Dr. Martin Luther King had said, go kill babies, rape babies. Oh my God. The Black community would have that in that era when they held a sense of pride in community and the message that the community was delivering. Nobody would have said, oh, I see where he's coming from. He shouldn't have said that, but I understand where he's coming. No, motherfucker, we don't understand where the fuck you coming from. Fuck you and feed you motherfucking fish. I don't understand that. You can't say that shit. Rape and kill babies. Come on.
You know, and you can't. And he, at some point, he's got to know that now, even if he's sitting back, and I don't know, I'm not trying to think how he's thinking, but again, a person who has kids and who advocates for kids, I can't see how he feels like this is gonna have a positive turn. You know, this is gonna have a positive outcome, and it's not. I just know that this dude is a character. He's created this thing, and he's already explained the worm on the hook. So I don't get caught up in it. I just look at him like no different. Like I told you, the analogy I used when we was talking last night about the movie Training Day and Alonzo, and when people just got tired of it, what they do? They just turned their back to him, man. That was the worst thing. And you see what they did to him. You see how he looked once everybody just didn't entertain him no more. Once people stopped entertaining him and feeding that ego, feeding that shit, guess what they did? They just turned around, threw their hand, and that was the end of him. And once people do that to him, when he's done went too far like this, but here's my whole thing too, Jerry. If we're gonna do this, we gotta do this across the board. We can't pick and choose. We can't pick and choose. When they say Trey Songz and beat up another female, we gotta have the same energy. When they say Mystical to rape somebody else, And I'm a
Same
fan of
energy.
Mystical. Interviewed Mystical, he's great. I even think he did it. But damn, this is the fourth one. So when it's Mystical, we got to keep that same energy.
Got the
You know
same
what I mean?
energy.
We can't.
Same energy. Raping is wrong. Hurting our women of any color from any community is wrong. But they're also adults. They can have an opportunity to kill the motherfucker that's attacking them. These babies, a 3-year-old baby, has no chance.
So what do you
And
think?
there are motherfuckers that will go do that shit because they've always wanted to do some silly shit.
Yeah, but see that one. But see, if they go rape a baby, that wasn't Charleston White forced them to go do it. They already had that shit going.
Okay,
They already
agreed.
had that
But
in
you
them.
know what? He just gave them permission. Them motherfucking folks that wanted this, that stormed the fucking Capitol January 6th, always wanted to do that shit. Trump gave them fucking permission. They're gonna blame it on him, even though they're responsible for their own actions. I agree.
Yes,
We can't blame our woman for cheating on him because you went and did the cheating. I understand. Everybody has to acknowledge. However, I also understand that I have people that are fans, but they don't look up to me like that, and they're not hanging on my every word, et cetera, et cetera. This is a different dynamic because you have someone, first of all, who's done so many great things on behalf of the community that he's seen as a hero in some aspects.
Right.
When he explained his earlier venture into this methodology, the more, animated and offensive.
Yeah.
Okay, people said, okay, you know what? My mom did talk to me like that. That is how our community used to roll. I got you. But you know what? That's you and me. That's our generation. These new kids don't have any of the training that we had the benefit of from our elders. And if they do have access to that training and those elders, oftentimes they're not listening. Okay. So white folks ain't the only ones that got crazy people that'll walk up in and shoot up a damn school. Hell, Shawnee Mission, Kansas, just at the end of last school year, little black boy went up into a damn. Now we in the whitest part of Kansas, Overland Park, Shawnee Mission.
Mm-hmm.
We got Sprint, Nextel, all them big. This is a money area, right?
Mm-hmm.
They walk up in there and start shooting. This is not something that black people did. I'm not saying it's the first, but for a black kid to walk into a school and shoot, that's some new shit, bro.
Yeah,
okay.
That's out of character for us.
So now we have, if you have one on the sales tip, we say every person knows 10 people, right? All right. So if you have one crazy motherfucker, he's likely to be hanging out with 9 or 10 more crazy motherfuckers. And then somebody in that crew is secretly really twisted and fucked up.
Yeah.
They're not reaching out. They're not catching the signals because they're all in the same thing. But this is that one person that will take it that far. This changes an era.
So what do you think? And I agree with you. Let me establish that. I totally agree with you. I just think what happens with us in our culture, man, is we spend our energy attacking this one thing, and then we let everything else run past us. So, you got caught with. I told you don't wear that to work. You wore it, but 20 other people done ran past, and we don't attack that. My whole thing is, if no matter where we start correcting things that shouldn't be allowed in our culture, we have to attack all of it. We have to attack all of it. And that comes from anything, any aspect of it. Raping, physical abuse, business. Because Business leads to all kind of other stuff. We got a laundry list of things that we got to deal with. My thing is, let's not let one headline draw us all in, and then let another similar headline, we don't pay no attention to it, because that happens a lot. Because that one that we don't pay attention to ultimately might be more damaging than the one we're putting our energy towards. That's my whole thing. I just want everybody to keep the same energy on all the issues. And these other platforms, and I ain't got to say their names, we all know who they are, but these other platforms that get paid off posting that bullshit, they're the real problem. Because a Charleston White headline doesn't get no steam without what? An outlet to put it out. It doesn't get no movement unless there's a press release put out by a PR or media company putting it out, and they're getting X amount of thousands of dollars because it didn't hit this amount of, you know what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? So, yes, he's wrong in every aspect for what he's saying. But guess who's just as wrong? It's no different than the R. Kelly situation. R. Kelly was wrong for raping them women. R. Kelly was wrong for marrying Aaliyah. But guess what? He wasn't alone. And he shouldn't be in jail by himself either.
Oh, no.
There was no way in hell R. Kelly was able to orchestrate, maintain, and manage all that crazy shit he had going on without help.
100%.
So that's my whole point. Everybody focused in on Kels and forgot all the little helpers that he had around him for all them years. The parents, the managers, the security guards, the drivers, everybody who played a part and played a role because he was lining their pockets, got away scot-free, and he's the one in there doing life.
You know, there are a whole lot of people that are supposed to be in jail with Kels.
Yeah.
Whole bunch of people.
And that's what I'm saying. So even with the Charleston White,
yeah,
yes, he is the first, right? Because he's the one that made the statement. But guess who else is just at fault? They're not posting his story to get some type of solution, because that's what we're getting. The whole point is education to entertainment on this show. So we just educated people for over 40 minutes in various areas on how this can be detrimental long term. Now we're going to come with the solution, right? They're not posting these headlines for solution based. They're not posting this because they're concerned. They're posting this shit because they're making money. So now, where does the responsibility lie on them as well?
Well, you know, I 100% agree with you that the media platforms, you know, play an equal part in the dissemination of some of this garbage. The problem that convolutes the situation is that social media, or citizen journalism, as it was once called, all right, social media gives him the platform to reach people who want to hear what he has to say. He also, of course, because of his success of his message early on and the things that he was capable of getting done, even before he went, you know, left the bow tie world, he accomplished things. The community wasn't listening to him and moving as fast as we need to move. And he says, I got to put a fire under their ass. Okay. And part of what he did early on and is still doing is trying to throw an alarm clock in the graveyard and wake the dead. I understand, brother. I support the message from South Central. Understand about the cultures that he's talking about. I think one thing I have to separate and say that all rappers, my brother, Charleston, are not bad. MC Nice out of LA, dope lyricist. He's a gospel rapper. You know?
But see, there again, and not to cut you off, hold that thought. Don't lose that thought from me. But That's my whole point, man.
Mm,
Charleston knows that shit.
mm.
He knows that. But what does that do? He knows shock value statements? Same thing Donald Trump used to do. Them shock value statements
Still
is
going
going to
on.
gain attention. He
Okay.
knows there's good rappers out there.
Okay. But
Do you see what I'm saying? That's my whole
look at the
that's my
impact.
whole point.
Look at the impact though, bro. Look at as moronic as that motherfucker is. Let's just look at Trump real quick. All right.
Okay.
And the power of his fans, the power level of his fans, the insanity that these people, Marjorie Taylor Greene spits, Lauren Boebert with her, oh, come on, man. You know what I mean? Come on. That's just two examples. Matt Gaetz, Hawley from Missouri with his dumbass. Okay. These are people in the Senate. These are in Congress.
Right.
Look how susceptible they are to the Trump God complex. And they're making laws that determine how we're affected as human beings. Don't tell me that the power of the word is not important, because if that crazy loony sumbitch can move an entire community, including Congress and House of Representatives, the House of Representatives and the Senate, you got the House. And come on, you got both chambers going crazy. Okay, then Charleston White could set off a bunch of crazy nutsos who've been looking forward to just getting whatever they little freaky shit on that they want to do. And it's going to be okay, because the community is not going to say, hey, brother, this is not the best way to do it. You can't advocate like go kill babies, rape babies. It just takes away from everything good that you've ever done.
Now that is the teachable moment. And that's what we want to get to now at this point. So let's talk solution. Let's talk solution.
Okay. All right.
And then let's talk teachable moment. And then, we'll go from there. You know what I mean? So to me, the teachable moment here is do not let your celebrity cost you your life and the lives of other people. You got to be mindful. Yes, you are an adult. Yes, we have freedom of speech. Yes, you can say what you want. Yes, people should have intelligence over emotion, but that's not the reality of the world that we live in. Everybody can't think for themselves. Everybody doesn't have their own mind. Some people's mind is based on who they love to see on TV, whoever their favorite rapper is or their favorite actor is. You know what I mean? So that's, I don't know what just happened here. Hold on.
I can see you.
Yeah, my this iMac, man, it just be doing, sometimes be having a mind of his own.
Yeah.
But no, don't let your celebrity cost you. Enjoy the fame, enjoy the attention, get your money, have fun, live your life, travel, but you shouldn't have to pay police $10,000 because the words out of your mouth got you nervous and thinking somebody gonna do something to you. If you shouldn't have to look over your back every time you go to another city. And because you done threatened so many people and said fuck you to so many people that you don't know where the hit's gonna come from. You know what I mean? Be mindful that you do got a wife, you do got children, you do got people that want to see you come home at night. And yes, you are making a change. You are shining a light on a lot of things, but you just as much as you're gaining people, you're also losing just as many by the words that come out of mouth. So that's the teachable moment for Charleston White. Anybody like Charleston White, anybody in the same field and doing the same thing. Hassan, what's the dude's name? Hassan, damn. He was into it with him as well. And they're pretty much similar. They're pretty much on the same wavelength on what they do. You know what I mean? He lost his wife and kids left him over this internet mess. Wow. So what I'm saying is it's not worth your life, it's not worth your family, and be able to get your message out Umar Johnson been doing it for years. Michael Eric Dyson been doing it for years, and ain't nobody out looking for them that I know of. And they're still making money, still living life, still doing what they're doing, and everything's fine. You don't have to get to the point where your life is in danger and you're endangering the lives of yourself and others and your family for a buck or whatever it is that you're chasing. And that's a teachable moment. Jerry, do you have anything to add to that?
You know, I take heart from a video that I watched of I think it's NBA YoungBoy.
Mm-hmm.
Young man, you know, had some inner reflection, some reflection. He says, you know, I'm affecting people with my words, and
Yeah.
people are going out and doing those things that I talk about in my songs. And he acknowledged that, you know, he's part of the machine now, so he can't change everything uh at one time, but he's going to change everything that he can. He made that declaration. And I think for us, I would just like us to remember that as a community unified in a message, we're stronger. When we hold our spokespersons accountable for the way they deliver our message, because if you claim to be on speaking on behalf or in advocacy of a group, you have a responsibility to put the best foot forward of the group, and the group has the responsibility to hold you accountable as one of their spokespersons. I say that we have to recapture and come together and hold our spokespeople, however little other people might feel they are. We have to hold them accountable and, you know, teach them in the ways to which they should go.
I like that. Okay. And so when we had these moments, because one of the things that I know that we like to do is we love exposing. We'll expose the hell out of each other for something little all the way up to something major.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we gauge that, right? So how do we, in this particular situation, you know, what is the appropriate, I don't want to use the word punishment, but what is the appropriate way to get him to see the light, understand where we're not damaging him as a brand and taking money away from him and all that other stuff. How do we do that without damaging those two things?
In my opinion, you take the brother fishing and you have a whole day where there's no cameras, there's no social media. He has great sense.
Mm-hmm.
He's very intelligent, you know, and I think the best way is to give him as much of a calm environment as possible and communicate with him. Don't talk at him, because when you talk at him, he picks you apart like a good prosecutor, and then he just goes after you, and it's another whole show. So now you've just taken away from the entire main point to some sideshow. He's an expert at it. So I think conversation, communication, respect the fact that he has a mission, and the mission is worthy. Explain to him that, you know, as decent and reasonable people, perhaps limits might be in order, rather than giving fodder to an already burning, smoldering hot spot that could pop off. You know, with everyone clamoring for space and recognition and acknowledgement, eventually that's how wars start. Is because you didn't recognize my rights, you didn't recognize me as a person, and I'm not taking it anymore. And a war could be a fist fight in the middle of the street, in your living room, on the internet. And communication is the key. Aggressively listening. Stay away from the I language and I feel. Nobody gives a shit how you feel. Remember to tell somebody, you know, what I understood you to say was, but this is how I perceive it.
Mhm.
How you perceive everything.
There it is. Oh, yeah, like I thought you threw that in
Baby. So I would just say that I feel us taking the time to communicate. You and I were going at it. We're friends, and I lit you up real quick. I'm like, classily. No
Yeah, because I read that
disrespect.
comment. I said, wait a minute, hold on now. Let me
Yeah,
talk to
yeah,
my guy. Let me talk to the big homie one time, man.
yeah,
Let
yeah,
me let me clarify things, man.
yeah.
Let me
But we
clarify this
have to,
message.
but we have to be not wishy-washy in our opinions. We must be pointed and direct as to what we expect from our leadership, from our speakers, those who are influencing our children. First, we need to influence them so that they know, don't fuck with the 3-card money dealer. You
Yeah,
know, they
yeah. I used to do that.
that's and that's the world outside. You know, step back, watch, observe before you speak. Don't be that impressed with yourself. And you know, I have to say, I don't do these like interviews and things, but this is something that I really felt I need to get off my chest. And I was happy to put my face to it so that in case anyone decided they needed to check my oil, that I would be readily identifiable and assure them that I'm prepared to meet them in any situation that they feel they need.
And trust me, everybody, he trust me, that ain't just internet talk.
No,
Well, you know, yeah.
been there, done that. Feel me? So,
But
I would love, to talk to him, and I will of course show him respect for the mission. I would just like to say that, and I'm not somebody he even knows or cares about, but there are a bunch of unknowns in his world like me who have an opinion about what he's doing. Both positive, they're for him, and some of them are against him. You know what I mean? But an opportunity as a community, maybe as a diaspora, saying, "Hey, bro, we need to temper this a little bit, if you could, before it gets out of hand." Because in this instance, we're talking about China Mac. Now, his father was a bigwig, in the Flying Dragons, which is one of the biggest and most violent tongs in New York. I interviewed China Mac just a year after he had come home. He shot somebody, did 11 years, whatever. And, I interviewed him. So he ain't no joke. He comes from a lineage that has proven themselves in battle in the streets. And as a community, we already look at they talk how they roll together economically, right? Do you think they not gonna go to war together?
And so basically, you got to know your enemy, right? You got to, he could be biting off more than he could chew.
Book of 5 Rings, bro. Miyamoto Musashi. It tells you about the art of war.
Yeah.
You feel me? So
and one thing I will tell Charleston, as we prepare to close out, not just because you hire the police does not mean they're on your side. There's a lot of crooked police out there that will set you up and take your money, set you up, plan it, and go on about that, and go home and go to sleep and eat popcorn and won't even think 2 things about you.
And will be your color. Look at Malcolm.
Yeah. So it not because you hired them does not mean that you're protected.
Yeah, and we don't want nothing to happen to this brother.
Nah,
because the message and the mission is righteous. We want to support that mission. We would like it to be done with class, without being divisive, because what you're talking about, every community has an activist that's saying the same thing about gangs, about drugs, about the music that denigrates our women, denigrates our culture, just brings us down. And if you have 2 activists from across the aisles who are moving in the same direction, why would you blow that bridge up before you could connect?
And I think this is the first time that we've seen anybody like Charleston White that has attacked in this type of way. He is the first to do it in this type of way and really rattle some cages. I've never seen this happen before like this. So he's definitely doing so. I know that James Prince, they say Jay Prince wanted to sit down with him when he was saying fuck Rap a Lot, fuck mob ties and all this shit. And he said, fuck Jay Prince, I ain't sitting down with no nigga. And I'm just like, you're that again, don't we used to have this saying, right? My parents, don't let your lips beat you to the hospital.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You gotta be you gotta, I get it, right? But everything that you think, you don't gotta say. If you don't want to meet with him, just hey man, I don't really feel the need to do that. But first and fuck Jay, I ain't meet with no motherfucker. Like, dude, there, like you just said, Jerry, there's somebody that's riding with Prince that will gladly sneak his way to Dallas and come see you, whether whatever happens. But there is, and you're right, there is somebody out there that's willing to go the distance to protect a Jay Prince or anybody from a person of Charleston White. So he's going to have to understand at some point that he's got to tone it down. And just because you tone it down don't mean you're going to lose your following and lose your people. You just got to tone down the stuff that does not need to be put in the headline.
That's all I'm asking. Please, brother, respectfully, I would ask you, I ain't asking you to apologize for anything that you said or done, because that thing that you said is not something that is going to go away for a long, long time. And remember that there are real hotheads out there, and we don't want anything to happen to you. We don't want anything to happen to the mission. Right. We want to have someone who's out there trying to work as the tip of the spear for this and protect our children, protect the Black families, the Black women. He's doing what he feels is right, to hold an element of the community accountable for their actions, meaning, and he uses generalizations, which are not fair, but he says rappers and gang members and things like that, right? And I got it. Things have gotten out of hand. Our women feel like their worth is based on whether they can get a Birkin bag and their makeup is right and their lace front is good and whatever. And, that's not your worth. He's saying, you know what? He's saying that this culture, this counterculture that we call it, that's rap, not hip hop, is taken away. He doesn't want that to happen. I got it, and I support that 100%. I would say that he's reminding us that our Black women have been the backbone of our community for over 400 years. When men of our community could not be men for fear of their lives, personally and that of their children and wives. And the women had to say, be strong. It's okay. We can make it. Mm-hmm. And the culture is taken away from that, from honoring that. And you
just brought up a whole nother conversation. Man, yeah. That's it. Yeah, that's a whole nother
stepping, brother. That's where he's stepping. And I respect that. I just respectfully say that, perhaps, no, not fuck that. You can't, in good common sense, say some shit like rape and kill babies.
Right.
They have sent entire battalions of people to other countries to kill up some shit for dictators who were talking that way. These are people who came through the ranks. People say ignore him, but you can't necessarily ignore him when he knows 10 people who know 10 people. That becomes thousands and hundreds and thousands of people who could potentially set it off in a way that we're not looking for. We just want to protect our women and our children, our families. We want to get our brothers and sisters out of prison.
Yeah.
Gas incarceration. This is what I understand Charleston White to be advocating for in his way. On this particular instance, the brother is out of bounds. We do not rape and kill babies.
All right. We want to thank everybody for listening.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh man, loved it. I think we achieved our goal once again on the show of educating and entertaining and coming up with a teachable moment and coming up with a solution. Everything's about the gossip and the bullshit and the clickbaits and did you see when he said this? And oh man, we're gonna take that 10 seconds and we're gonna splatter that all over the world. Nah, the conversations are real, the solutions are real, it's genuine. This is my guy, this is the big homie. And so we definitely felt the need to come on here and just kind of get both our point of views together and look what we got. Look at the end of the conversation. When y'all go back and you watch this, you're going to see how we started and how we got all the way here an hour later. And now you got something that you could take with you if you already didn't know. So for Charleston White, keep doing your thing. But remember, there is a there is a line, there is a limit to what you can say and what you can do. You know what I mean? There is a line, there's penalties to pay for that. And you already know that. So I think you already know what to do. It's just two brothers here, letting you know, hey, we understand, we get it, but you can't do that. That's too far. Pull back and keep striving forward. You know what I mean? In the end. So we want to thank the editor-in-chief of Hype Magazine, Jerry Dobie, for joining the Taj Longino Show. We want to thank everybody for watching. We got over 700 people on TikTok, another 100-something, I think, on Instagram, and I didn't even check the Facebooks yet. But we want to thank y'all, man. Y'all make sure that y'all download the official Taj Longino Show app on iOS and Android. Make sure you log on to the official Hype Magazine website at thehypemagazine.com. Follow Hype Just J. Follow Jerry Dobie. You can if you don't know his page, go to my page, and he's probably on 4 or 5 posts on there. You can follow him. Follow him. The brother does great work, and if you didn't know him, you know him now. All right. For everybody else, man, just stay blessed out there. Each one, reach one, teach one, and let's continue to grow one day, one step, one movement at a time. Taj Longino Show, and as I always tell you, wake up, goddammit. All right, Jerry, appreciate you, brother.
Man, thank you. Yeah.
Hold on real quick.